Hey everyone, welcome back from gym class. How did you enjoy it? Did you have a lot of fun? Yeah? Alright. So what we're going to actually do today is we're going to take some of our energy that we just had in gym, and we're going to actually translate into our science lesson today. And what we're going to do is we're going to review a little bit of weathering that we had last class, and we're going to do something new called porosity. And we're going to take this new knowledge of porosity, and we're going to play around with it in our experiments today. Weathering a little bit together, we're going to move on to our main topic, porosity. Now, as you can see on the smart here, it says that porosity is the quality of having a lot of holes in it. Now, what do we know of that has a lot of holes in our everyday lives? Yes, James. Alright, Swiss cheese. Swiss cheese is one thing that has a lot of holes in it. What's another thing that has a lot of holes in it, though? Yes, Jen. Right, a sponge. Sponges also have lots of holes in them. Now, when we refer to porosity in terms of Earth, we usually think of in terms of weathering, in terms of rock forms, and usually rain breaks down the bigger rocks into smaller rocks, and when these rock formations get broken down, they can go from very porous to not so porous, because, you know, all the rocks are fitting in together more nicely, and they're closing up all those gaps between one another. So now, we're going to take this concept, and we're going to apply it to the mini experiment I have set up for us up here. Here I have a cup full of marbles, a cup full of pebbles, and a cup full of sand. Now, take a moment and turn and talk to a partner and discuss which one you think is going to take up the most water in each cup and why. Alright, now just by a show of hands, who says the sand's going to have the most in it? Not a lot? Alright. How many think the pebbles are going to have a lot in them? Alright, now lastly, who thinks the marbles is going to have a lot in them? Alright, so we have more people in the marbles camp, not really anyone in the sand camp, and a couple of us think pebbles. Well, let's go ahead and test it out. I'm going to start off by pouring some water into the sand cup. Whoa! Alright, clearly that didn't hold a lot of water, so that's probably not going to be the most porous. Let's go ahead and try the pebbles cup. Alright, that held a little bit more, not too much more, but it held a lot more than the sand. And now let's go ahead and try our marbles cup. Look at that, the marbles cup is the one that held the most amount of water. Now, who can tell me why the marbles cup is the one that held the most? Yes. Right, because since all the marbles are much bigger and they're much more round than the other objects, they're going to not sit so nicely next to one another. And so since they're going to leave so much space, they're going to allow stuff to flow through them a lot easier. Now we're going to go ahead and move into our experiment, where we're going to take our idea of porosity, and we're going to design a house to not fall down a landslide. Nice job on our experiments. Now that we've turned in our papers and we've all cleaned up from the lab, we're going to go ahead and play a little game of Kahoot, just to review everything that we've done today. Alright, I see that the entire class is in, and let's get started. Alright, let's begin. So, remember, we reviewed this earlier. What is weathering? Right, like we said, it's the breakdown of rocks. Very nice job. Let's move on to the next question. Ooh, our types of weathering. Which one is organic? Which one is physical? Hint, hint. Organic usually means life. Right. Like when I said life, plants are living. Physically break down rocks is more of the mechanical weathering. Slow decay of a rock formation is chemical weathering. And none of the above is just obviously not true. Alright, the entire class is doing really well. Let's keep going. Alright, this is what I start off the class with. What is porosity? Who remembers that definition that we had from earlier on? That is right. It's the amount of space that a liquid can hold. As you remember from our experiment earlier on where we had the marbles, pebbles, and sand, the marbles had the most amount of space that can hold a liquid. You guys are on fire. Let's keep going. Which will hold the most water? Oh, this is literally from our experiment earlier. Whoops. Yeah, that's kind of a freebie. So you all earned a brownie. Hey! Alright, last question. From our experiment, and looking at everyone else's results, which one do you think is a true statement? Rain has either no effect on the building, landslides are inevitable and unpreventable, a house in just sand will slide down, or the bigger rocks will not let a lot of water pass. Right. I mean, none of us tried a house of just sand, but I think we all recently believed that if the water's going to run down and sand doesn't let water through very quickly, the sand's going to go with it. Alright. Very nice job, everybody. You can go ahead and grab your lunch boxes and head out for lunch.